Hello, everyone. So as you can tell by the title of this live stream, it is going to be uh, a talk. Okay. Um, and also, I do have to go in about an hour, so this is going to be a shorter live stream. But recently, I went on a trip. And it was an incredible trip. It was an amazing trip. And I don't want this live stream to come off as, me speaking from that privileged place where I'm telling you get off your phone and go on a trip because that's not what I'm saying. Okay. So, right off the bat, I'm giving disclaimers because I know how people are on the internet. Okay. And so I want you guys to know that that is not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to get off your phone and go on a trip. I'm telling you, just get off your phone. Just in general, get off your phone. Like, it's so bad. And ironically, the thing that made me realize that it was as bad was me scrolling on TikTok. And I know how this sounds like, and you don't have to tell me how this sounds like because I know what it sounds like, okay? But I was scrolling on TikTok while I was on this trip, and it was, the kind of scrolling that you do when you're not doing anything else. But this scrolling in particular was just me scrolling through like a couple of TikToks and then I got off my phone. Actually, as soon as I saw this TikTok, I got off my phone. I wasn't even scrolling that much. Um, but I had been like in a meditative state for the entirety of the trip, and I picked up my phone to check in with people and tell them how that I'm doing okay and where I am and stuff like that. And then I got on TikTok, scrolled a little bit, found this TikTok, got off my phone. And what this TikTok said was it was this plus size girl saying that she's afraid that she cannot have a relationship until she loses weight. And I don't want to sound like I am, doing well, what about, or like misunderstanding her, like purposefully misunderstanding her because I understood what it was that she was trying to say. First and foremost, I want to make that clear. I understand what it is that she's trying to say. And what she's trying to say is not uh I no fat people are in relationships because that's just not true. What she's trying to say is that she feels too insecure to be in a relationship because of how she looks. Um and by the way also, I'm speaking about this as a plus size girl myself, okay? I don't usually talk about like personal stuff on here, but ever since I was a little girl, I have been fat shamed. So that's where I'm coming at this from. Okay. So I saw that TikTok and I understood her sentiment. What made me get off the app, what made me click off of TikTok was the fact that the comments were saying basically kind of echoing that sentiment and saying and more so implying that fat people do not deserve to get in relationships. And I think that this is so harmful, and it is not just harmful for them and they, them thinking that, but it is harmful for the people that are coming across that TikTok and watching that and internalizing that. First and foremost, I want to say if you truly believe that fat people do not deserve love or do not get into relationships, you got to get off your phone. Let me just grab the phone from your hands and just, it's okay. Go outside. Get out of here, okay? Um, but second, I'm saying get off your phone and I'm linking it to this because I'm realizing just as I get older and especially the time that I was on the trip and how like little I was on my phone. How much clarity I got about self-esteem. When I wasn't on my phone, I wasn't thinking about how I was being perceived. okay? And I think our phones have a lot to do with making us feel like we're being overly perceived. Because where does social media live? On our phone. What is social media most known for? It's for sharing your own personal life and for showing people everything that you do, right? And I am not someone like I already said, I'm not someone who shares my stuff personally. You guys probably wouldn't have even known that I was on a trip had I not said anything because it looks like I'm still uploading as usual. I scheduled content, so and I think I said I was gonna schedule content, but I wasn't. It wasn't for me going on trip. It was for me working on my video essay, which, by the way, I now have a script for. Uh, we're making progress in the video essay venture. It is currently 3,459 words. And I decided once and for all that I was actually going to split it up into different sections because I initially was thinking of just doing one big video essay. But I just thought, that it's just going to be a lot of information of just me like bam, information, bam, so I decided to split it up into different sections and make it more digestible. But anyway, um, when I saw that TikTok and thinking about the clarity that I had received and how much I was not worried about people perceiving me, especially, um, I got really sad for these girls because it is really, really sad to think that you do not deserve a relationship because of your weight. And you have to understand, I'm not blaming them, okay? Because this is a long-standing media thing where the media has told us as plus sized girls that we do not deserve love until we lose weight, which is not true at all. Um, but it is harmful when they're the ones perpetuating it and when they're the ones validating that. And they're doing it because they've spent so long on their phone that any negative sort of criticism that they see, they have internalized it and they're now perpetuating again. And so that's how we get to the oh, well, I do not deserve to find love until I lose weight. What? Like, there's just so many implications with that. It's and look, okay, here's also the thing is I know what this looks like. Okay. I'm painfully aware of the irony of you guys are watching me on your phone, whether right now, whether a little bit later after this live stream ends, whether it be, you listening to my podcast on your phone, and I'm telling you to get off your phone, and it's like, well, then how are we supposed to listen to your podcast episodes? But my thing is not that. I don't care about that. Okay? If it takes you not listening to my podcast episodes for you to get off your phone and for you to touch grass, as the kids say, then so be it. I will miss you. I'll see you later. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you will decide that the phone is not for you anymore and uh I envy you, right? But get off your phone. Okay? If that's what it takes, get off your phone. No, I'll see you when I see you, okay? Um, and I also don't want this to come across as me trying to I'm saying go touch grass, uh, and it sounds like it's just slang, but I mean it. I mean it. I do. I mean, set your phone down. Leave your house, even just sitting in the front yard or in the backyard, and just take a moment to just sit with nature for a little bit. Instantly, you feel like, and I'm telling you, leave your phone in your room so that you cannot even hear a notification go off, and then get out. Get out of your house, sit, like I said, front yard, backyard, whatever. Go on a walk if you are able to go on a walk. Because I know, it's winter, but just leave your phone at home and just get out there. Don't even listen to music, okay? That's one thing that I realized as I was on my trip is I didn't even listen to music until when I was coming back home, which is very interesting because I'm a music lover. But I did not even listen to music. I was just sitting and looking out the window most of the time as I was heading to my destination, as I was heading back. And it changes your perspective so much to go from, and again, this is not me saying go on a trip. Okay, this is me saying get off your phone. It changes your perspective so much to be constantly like just sitting with your phone in your face, like you can't see anything that's like 20 feet away from you because everything that you're looking at is like 2 inches away from your face. um Two, being able to put your phone down and just look at nature, it changes your perspective so much almost instantly. Because when, and as I was traveling, my phone had to be either on airplane mode or it was out of service, like it wasn't, there was no signal because I was deep in deep in my journey. um and I'm actually going to upload a video, like a little vlog that I filmed once I got to the hotel. And I don't know if I'm going to upload it on this channel or on a different channel, but we'll see. But it is almost instant how your brain changes. Because again, like I said, it's, you're going from scrolling on your phone 24/7, unless you're asleep and you cannot scroll on your phone. Even people who are at work, they'll pull out their phones and they'll start scrolling, right? Um, to going like days on end without ever even thinking about your phone. It changes your perspective fundamentally, and it changes how you think people perceive you. Because when you're on your phone, like I said, you're most likely on social media and you're most likely seeing other people saying that certain bodily characteristics are unattractive and others are super attractive. And it changes all the time, right? Like in 2020, we were all about body positivity and like curvy bodies. And so curvy girls got, their time to shine and they were feeling so confident. But then now, 2026, it's all about Ozempic and looking so skinny and malnourished. And that's what's, trending, not to body shame when I'm trying to talk about body positivity, but it's getting to a point where it's concerning and where these celebrities are looking not healthy and they're instead looking malnourished. That's what I mean. I don't mean to body shame. I just mean it's getting to that point where the trend is no longer fit and athletic bodies, it's malnourished bodies. Um, and so now you have a lot of plus size girls who in 2020 were living so confidently and being told that they were gorgeous, and now in 2026 they're being told that they're lazy, unhealthy, and that they need to lose weight and that they need to get on Ozempic, right? So that's what I mean by that's what I mean by get off your phone. Because the trends on your phone that are glued to your phone, that don't go anywhere but your phone, are so drastic. Like the changes are so drastic that it messes with your head. It really does mess with your head. And again, I don't want to come across as fake deep, and I don't want to come across as like, oh my god, she's discovering something that the rest of us have discovered. No, but I have noticed that it's getting worse. It's getting worse, our phone addictions. And so that's what I'm here to kind of tell you guys is even me, like especially me, I think. I was so addicted. And when I came back, guess what I did? Immediately picked up my phone, browse. Let me actually check my screen time so that I can tell you, okay, I'm not I don't mean to be a hypocrite. Um, but in fact I am. So when I'm telling you, get off your phone and my uh daily average went down 56% from last week, and today it's so last week I averaged 2 hours and 51 minutes, and today alone, I've been on TikTok for 3 hours and 18 minutes. That's more than my average of last week. So that's what I'm saying is you got to get off your phone, and I'm going to try and lead by example, and I'm going to try and, you know, put my phone down. Because, yeah, when I did put my phone down, it was such a like clarifying moment where I was like, oh, actually, nobody is perceiving me like at all. Like, I'm going through life and nobody's like looking at me. Nobody's, thinking, oh, she's so ugly, right? Even though mayhaps I might have felt ugly at points, nobody was looking at me and thinking, "Oh, she's so ugly," right? And it's crazy that change that happens when you put your phone down. What? Because when you're on your phone, you're thinking, you know, this TikTok has so many likes, so many views. It must be that everybody is looking at this person. If I upload a TikTok, everybody's going to be looking at me. And it's all become like this thing of everybody's looking at everyone all the time. And that's kind of the mentality that you obtain when you spend so long on social media and when you scroll so much. And then when you get off your phone, you realize that that's not the case and that people are just worried about themselves. And I certainly wasn't looking at anybody else thinking they're ugly, you know? Like, oh, they're overweight, they're ugly, they don't deserve love. Because I was just minding my own business. Um, and so, yeah, when I saw that TikTok, it made me really, really sad that these girls felt that way about themselves, but also that they were then perpetuating that and that they were then telling other girls who look like them that they also don't deserve love because they're fat and that they should lose weight if they want to get into a relationship. And right now on social media especially, I'm seeing a lot of single people, like perpetually single people, chronically single people say that they feel like they're missing out and that all they want is a romantic relationship. And I think I'm going to make an episode about that as a chronically single person, you know. And I think I'm going to, speak on that and really talk about that side of things because it is different um when you've never had a relationship versus when you have had a relationship and you just decide to be single, right? Or you are single either by choice or not by choice. But because of that phenomenon that's happening on social media, a lot of people are starting to like think, well, why am I single? Why have I been single for my entire like 30 years of living or whatever? Um, and that then has led to a lot of people criticizing themselves, right? Well, I've been single for all these years, like my whole life, because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and a lot of that includes physical characteristics. Oh, I've been single all 30 years of my life because I am overweight, I'm ugly. Nobody thinks I'm attractive, right? Nobody takes me seriously when I tell them that I want to date them or whatever. Um, and it is an unfortunate side effect, but this is not this thing that's happening where there's so many people who have been single their whole lives. Is first of all, not new, okay? It's something that has been going on in society for ages. And for ages, perpetually single people have been outcast. Now we're at a point in time where perpetually single people can just be perpetually single and not have anybody looking at them sideways. But because of those previous generations of people looking at perpetually single people sideways for being perpetually single, it has trickled down into today's generation where if you are perpetually single, even though nobody's judging you for that, you still feel like people should judge you. And so then you start to look inwards and you start to think really critically about yourself. And not critically, it's not critical thinking, it's destructive thinking about yourself, because again you start to think, well, I'm perpetually single because I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm, you know annoying to be around, and it's just detrimental. It's very destructive to yourself and does nothing to help you. It does nothing to make you feel better, it does nothing to actually get you into a relationship, and you should stop that. And part of the thing that's going to help you not do that is to get off your phone because if you get off your phone and if you talk to people, you will see so many people that have been perpetually single, for ages, perhaps even longer than you. I met a man who is currently single and has been single by choice for longer than I have been single, right? Longer than I have even been alive. Um and it really changes your perspective to shift from nobody wants me, nobody wants me, nobody wants me. I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly. I'm, annoying to be around. Everybody hates me, whatever, whatever. That's why I'm single. To realizing that you can actually shift your mentality and have it be a choice. Have it be, okay, well, nobody's dating me and that's not going to affect me because there's so many people in the world and so many of them are not on social media. So many of them are not anywhere near as active on social media as we have become. And they don't give a shit, you know? They and it's because the common denominator is phone. We care about us being perpetually single because we are stuck and glued to our phone. The people who are not stuck and glued to their phone and who are perpetually single don't care about being perpetually single because they are not stuck on their phone. They're not stuck doom scrolling and listening to people in their homes making like rage bait, clickbait TikToks about like, if you have been single for 20 years, this is what you are doing wrong, right? And it's putting all the blame on you, and you start to internalize that and you start to think, yeah, okay, I am doing something wrong. And that's why I'm perpetually single. That's why nobody wants to date me. When in fact it's not that. Maybe, you know, but then that's something that you should be going to therapy for. That's something that you should be, you know, and even okay, I say therapy, but actually therapy would actually be really bad for you if you are struggling with feeling like you are not the best person to date. Like if you're struggling with insecurities of like I suck as a person and that's why nobody wants to date me, going to therapy might help you deal with your insecurities, but it's not going to give you the answer of whether you are or you aren't a good person to date. You know what is gonna help you though? Getting off your phone and talking to people. Talking to people and getting an outside perspective from a stranger that isn't living up here, and talking to that person and learning from them and learning from yourself. Learning from yourself, learning how to talk to people, learning how to have longer conversations with people. Because also, another symptom, and the reason why a lot of people now are perpetually single is not because of, this male loneliness epidemic or whatever catchphrase you want to use. It's because we're all on our phones. It's because we don't know how to talk to people. It's because whenever we get home from work, we don't then try and go out and, you know, meet new people, meet the people that are living in our cities. It's because we go home and immediately scroll on our phones. And the only way that we know how to talk to people is through comment sections and typing. And that's ruining our media literacy, that's ruining how we communicate with others. The only people that we communicate with, like talk to in person, are people who live in the same home as us, whether that be parents, family members, uh roommates, pets, you know. That's most probably the reason why you're single. Not because you're fat, not because you're ugly, not because you are a horrible person and nobody likes you. It's probably because you don't talk to people. Can we all like let that sink in? It's probably because you don't talk to people. And I don't mean downloading dating apps. You guys know how I feel about dating apps. I have an entire 2 videos up on my channel about dating apps. Don't download it. Don't tell me, no, but Lily, I've downloaded dating apps and nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to go on a date with me. You're not getting dates from dating apps because that is their purpose. Their purpose is to keep you on the dating apps. So they're not going to show you the people that you're most compatible with. So delete the dating apps, get off your phone, and get out, right? And again, don't bean soup me and be like, well, I'm disabled and I actually can't walk, so like I can't go outside and talk to people, or like I'm deaf and so I can only speak to people with sign language. Find a workaround that's specific to your situation then. My point and my message that I'm trying to get across is to get off your phone, okay? Get off your phone, stop using your phone, try to reduce the amount of screen time like that you have on your phone. You know what? Speaking of being perpetually on your phone, I got a couple of comments on my latest episode, and I want to go through them with you to kind of like make you guys understand. Okay, this is an epidemic. People need to get off their phones. So my previous episode is titled "Everyone Hates Your Relationship dot 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 for Good Reason." It is part 2 to my 3-part series on relationships. First part was called "Bad Husbands Are Taking Over TikTok." Second part is called "Everyone Hates Your Relationship for Good Reason." Next part is going to be called, let me check. It's already been scheduled. These influencers are not empowering. So the first episode was about horrible husbands being shown off on TikTok and these women defending their bad husbands. And we talked about maybe why. We talked about, what the case might be there. The second episode was about, well, I started with the Vogue article titled "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" Um, and we talked about that. And I actually should bring up my notes because I don't necessarily remember exactly what. It's been a while since I filmed it. Again, scheduled and everything. So let me go get my notes and I will be right back. Okay, I have my notes. Um, okay, so yeah, we talked about traditional relationships with traditional gender roles. That is the specific relationship that is being hated on TikTok. Um, and we talked about how it is seen as embarrassing to have a boyfriend. And we talked about maybe why it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend, mostly relating to how men have been acting on not just social media and like on their own independent accounts, but on the accounts of their wives and the stuff that their wives post. So it was very much so an episode where I was asking the question, okay, well, why is it seen as embarrassing to have a boyfriend? Why is it seen as embarrassing to have a relationship? And I shared that it's seen as embarrassing now, most likely because of these bad husbands that we talked about in the previous episode, right? The husbands that cannot change diapers even though the nurse taught them how to change their baby's diaper before their baby went home with them. These husbands who this dude who spilled coffee grounds on the ground and did not pick up the coffee grounds at all, and they were there the whole day, eh, all the way into the night. And when his wife finally was like, "Hey, what are those coffee grounds doing there?" He said, "Oh, you're gonna clean them up, right?" No, you spilled them. Um, so that's what's being seen as embarrassing is not the relationship itself, but the potential that the relationship has to turn into such a relationship as the ones that I talked about in my first episode of this installment. Okay, now that you guys have this context, um, let's take a look at this comment that I received, which says it is seen negatively because they have successfully brainwashed this generation of women. Relationships are seen negatively because they have successfully brainwashed this generation of women. Who is they? What are we, talking about? Like, who has brainwashed this generation of women? So I ask, who is they? And why can't we as women decide that relationships shouldn't be a priority for us? Why must it be a conspiracy and not something that must be improved upon in society? Right? Because this person is making it seem like the women are being brainwashed instead of like the women have seen that men are not bringing as much to the table as they should and are collectively deciding, I'll just wait. It's fine. I don't need a relationship. I'll just wait. Right? So that's what I'm asking. That's like, why is it not something that we as a society can see as a problem? Okay, this is a problem that more and more people are becoming single. How can we together work to improve the situation? Get off your phone, first of all. Step number one. Uh but then somebody else replies and says, because you don't think independently, you just follow the herd. And the original person says, couldn't say more true words than this. OP talks big about thinking independently, but if you look at the Marxists and feminists, they all recite the same dialogue. I don't remember mentioning Marxism, like at all. Um, but okay. But like, so this person is not going to believe me, but I'm telling you guys, I haven't read any feminist books. They're on my to be read. I would like to read feminist books. I have not read any feminist books. I am just speaking from what I have seen as the friend who has had people come to me crying about their relationships and crying about their awful partners. And I'm being inclusive because it's not just men, okay? Which I think I make it a point to be inclusive and to remind you guys that even though like in the first installment of the series I said, okay, we are talking about traditional heterosexual cisgender relationships with traditional gender roles, but that's not me saying that relationships outside of this, you know, binary don't have problems, right? I specifically remember saying that because it is important to, although I am talking about one specific kind of relationship, I don't want you guys to then think, "Oh, well, every other relationship is fine," right? Because it's not. Um, but this is a sign of this person in particular having been brainwashed. They're saying, uh, this they whoever they is has successfully brainwashed this generation of women, but they're the ones that have been brainwashed by hate, by their phones, by scrolling too much on their phones because they refuse to acknowledge that women can individually and independently have the same experiences and come to the same conclusion. I mean, wouldn't you if you were someone who had friends who were constantly telling you, "Oh my god, my boyfriend, my husband did X, Y, and Z. This is awful." If you were someone who watched your friends age because of the stress that their partner put them through, wouldn't you arrive to the same conclusion of maybe I just don't need a partner, right? Like, oh, okay, if this is how having a relationship is like, maybe I don't want a relationship, right? That is certainly the conclusion that I came to because and I do not make this a secret. I do not make this a secret. I do not make like this is how it happened for me was that I was the perpetually single friend and I consistently was thinking I want to be in a relationship, I want to have a partner, I want to be, romantically loved, and all my friends were having that romantic love and I envied them. But then something happened and then a lot of my friends actually came to me and again, this is gay friends, straight friends, they like male, female, they came to me and they were like, I need relationship advice. My partner is being X, Y, and Z. This is really stressful. How like what's your advice? How do I fix this? Right. And when I would give my advice, some of these friends would take it and some of these friends would be like, fuck you. You've never been in a relationship. Like, what do you know? Right. Um, but the amount of people that came to me and told me this made me realize that maybe I'm just maybe I should just wait. Like, okay, and I was someone who was yearning for love, okay? I started I'll talk about this in a later episode, but I wanted romantic love up until literally all of my friends had issues in their relationships. And again, like I said, it was a variety of different friends gay, straight, male, female, like all of them had issues in their relationships. And I thought, this cannot be like if all of my friends, and I have diverse friends, and not just, gay, straight, male, female, but like Latino, Latina, um, let's see what a Muslim, white, all sorts of different races, ages, body types, sexualities, gender identities. All of my friends were coming to me and telling me that they had issues in their relationships. And so I took a step back from yearning and I was like, okay, hold on a minute. um, I think I need to figure out what it is that I want in my relationship because if all of my friends are coming to me with issues and telling me that their relationships suck, what is my relationship going to look like? It's probably going to look very similar because again, these are diverse friends looking all different sorts of ways with all sorts of different life experiences. All of them are having issues. I'm not going to be the unique one, especially if I do not take the time to slow down and figure out what it is that I want and how I can best work through problems, right? What are the problems that I'm going to be able to work through versus what are the problems that I'm not going to be able to work through? Um and again, I have not made this a secret. I have told you guys exactly that this is how it happened. This is how this was the friend that I was. These were the people that were coming to me and needing help from me, and this is how I helped them, and this is what it made me realize. And so I wouldn't doubt that there are other people out there that have had the same experience where their friends were coming to them and telling them, "Oh my god, my partner did X, Y, and Z." And it was not just that friend, it was other friend too. And it was the other friend too. And it was that other friend too, right? And so then they independently decided, I'm just not gonna date because this sounds very stressful. This sounds toxic. This sounds like something that I actually don't want. So I'm gonna wait. Right? And the thing is also in that particular episode, I specifically remember saying and giving tips that yeah, like I have in my notes here. I do think it's more important than ever to think before getting into a relationship. What do you want to get out of the relationship? What are your deal breakers? Do you value independence more than being in a relationship? If you have a social media presence, how important is it that your followers know everything about your relationship, et cetera, right? So like I did not advocate for women to be single forever. I in fact advocated for if you do want to get in a relationship, you should think before getting into said relationship. Like, what is it that you want out of that relationship? What are you willing to tolerate? What are you not willing to tolerate? And follow through on that, right? If you say, I'm not willing to tolerate cheating, and then your partner cheats on you, leave the partner. Don't be like, oh, well, no, but like, I love them so much, because then you are devaluing yourself and your standards for someone who did not respect you, right? So, and so it's interesting to me how this person saw that episode, and I doubt that they watched the entire episode, but it's interesting to me how this person saw that episode and decided that I was being brainwashed. um I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think I was able to deliver a pretty logical, you know, a sound argument of, hey, it's okay if you want to be single, and it's okay if you want to be in a relationship. Just make sure that you know why you want to be single, and make sure that you know why you want to be in a relationship. Like I didn't tell my followers to be single, and I wasn't trying to brainwash my followers into singledom, right? um which reminds me, I also got a different comment that was on the first installment of the series. The bad husbands are taking over TikTok, and it says, "Oh, how nice! A random person trying to cash in on the male female hate each other trend. A channel of 185 people selling merch, focusing on videos that are pushing for more women to become divorced and bitter single women, like the video creator. Single women keep women single. I hope your life improves and you don't need to take others' lives down to do it." I replied with, "You clearly didn't watch my episode at all. I'm doing the opposite of advocating for divorce and for women and men to hate each other. I, in fact, said that you should treat divorce as something you do without thinking about it." Uh, I think I meant you shouldn't treat divorce as something that you do without thinking about it. But, anyways, thanks for the view. And let me edit that because, oops, I did a typo. I replied to this almost like immediately after waking up. So I anyway, what I meant was, and it's true, if you watch that episode, you will see me saying, like, don't go into marriage just thinking, like, oh, it's okay, I can just divorce. Because divorce is lengthy and expensive, and you, in fact, most of the time cannot just divorce just like out of nowhere. You do have to, like, because if you divorce, you're going to be spending money on lawyers, you're going to be taking a long time. You have to really think about, like, what is divorce worthy to me, and then follow through with that versus getting into a relationship thinking it's okay because I can just get divorced anyway. because divorce as well as marriage is something that you need to really think about and really have a good head on your shoulders about. You can't just do it willy-nilly, which is what I said in the episode. But yeah, so that's why I replied, like, you clearly did not watch my episode and you did not watch what I was saying because I did not say that at all. Also, 185 subscribers has turned into 190 subscribers. Um, so thank you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and for following my content and for, you know, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. But um yeah, it's just interesting that that was the takeaway. And I actually think if those three commenters watch my next installment, they're gonna love me because I actually talk about this male female hate and how it is, detrimental to society as well. Um, and that's gonna go up on Valentine's Day, which, just side note, it's really funny how every Valentine's Day so far I've uploaded an episode talking about relationships. Um, it was not on purpose because last year Valentine's Day was on a Friday. This year it's on a Saturday. Last year I was uploading my episodes on Fridays. And this year I changed it to no, it wasn't last season I was uploading episodes on Fridays. This season, I'm uploading episodes on Saturdays. So it just so happened that both episodes are being released exactly on Valentine's Day. Um, but yeah, it just that's what I mean by telling you to get off your phone because these people that commented cannot even stand to think about somebody having a differing opinion than them because they're so in such an echo chamber that anything that is kind of slightly outside of that echo chamber feels like an attack on them. You do not want to be like these people, okay? And like I said, my next episode, it's gonna sound like I'm on their side, and they're gonna be like, "Wait, did you make this episode just to, placate us or whatever?" No, this episode has actually been in the planning for since before I got those comments, and I filmed it, edited, and uploaded it since before I got those comments. It is scheduled to go up already, so like I said, I was on a trip. I did not film anything. I did not post anything. Um, but yeah, i- so moral of the story is get off your phone, please and thank you. Um, yeah. And I know that you do need your phones to connect to people, but here's the unfortunate truth of that is if you do not get off your phones, you're not going to know how to connect to people anyway because commenting on somebody's TikTok is not the same as being able to sit and listen to someone and reply to someone when they're telling you something. You can't just type in like three crying emojis in real life, you know? You can't comment like laughing emojis or like skull emojis or whatever to react. You have to actually like react in person, like react in real time to what it is that they're saying. And that's not going to help you if you uh, do not get off your phone. Which is why I brought in those two comments because those two comments they were not absorbing what I was saying because a lot of us have been taught to wait for something reactionary to happen so that we can then react to it instead of absorbing the information, thinking about it, and then replying once you've, let that information sink in. If they had let the information sink in, they would have understood that I was not advocating for higher rates of divorce and that I was not advocating for men and women to hate each other, and that in fact it was me doing the opposite, right? me doing like completely the opposite. Like I don't want people to get divorced just willy-nilly, but I also don't want people to get into awful relationships. I have found a middle ground, and I was talking about that middle ground, but because it wasn't exactly what their echo chamber had said, they started, hating on me and being like, "Ugh, you're selling merch and you only have 185 subscribers, 190 now." Um, yeah, and like I like making stuff, and uh it's gonna go in merch. Um, I don't know why they brought up my merch anyway, but like I guess I see what they were trying to say, but it's it's a moot point. Like it's irrelevant to what I was saying in the episode and it's irrelevant to what they ended up commenting, but it was reactionary because that's what social media has taught us to be. It's to be reactionary. It's to wait for a a space where we can just react and have this divisive conversation instead of actually, taking the time to absorb one's thoughts and feelings and emotions and then reply accordingly. Um but yeah, anyway, all of this to say, get off your phone, okay? And again, you don't have to tell me, "Oh, this is so ironic," like, you're a content creator, whatever, whatever. I understand, I know. Um, get off your phone. That's all I can say. Anyway, yeah, I will see you guys for Valentine's Day when the last installment goes up. And then the week after that, I think I'm going to upload my episode with Kristen from A Little Bit A Lot podcast, which I talked about her before and we did a little collaboration live stream. Um and then after that, I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay, you guys are going to have to let me know. Do you want me to continue talking about relationships? In which case I will talk about this perpetual singlehood and um people, yearning for a relationship? Or do you want me to shift to something that's going to be a little bit more psychology focused, um, and more like research based? So let me know what you guys want, and I will, plan accordingly. But I think this is what I'm going to be doing from now on. I think I'm going to be uh pre-recording and uploading episodes, you know, Oh, oh, okay. Also, quick disclaimer before anybody says anything. I'm not telling you to get off your phone so that you're not receiving news because nowadays it's very important to stay informed and to stay on top of things because so so much is happening that it's almost like blink and you'll miss it, right? There's so many things happening, and so I'm not telling you to get off your phone and to disconnect from reality. That's not what I'm telling you at all. I'm telling you to get off of social media. And I'm sure you guys, are not going to bean soup me because I know I have an intelligent audience. But yeah, I'm not telling you to not tune into what is happening in the world. I'm telling you to not rely so much on other people's opinions of yourself. Okay? So if somebody says that you do not deserve to have a relationship because you're fat, get off your phone. Okay? Do not internalize that. Do not let that get to you because that's just a lie. And you should get off your phone and talk to your neighbors. Okay? Still stay connected with the world by talking to your neighbors. Um, but talk to people in person. Okay? Don't rely on people who are looking to become viral to tell you how to behave, if that makes sense. So, yeah, there is a difference. Like, very important that you stay informed, but also very important that you stay grounded in reality and that you don't take advice from someone that's just trying to make money and go viral, if that makes sense. Um, which again feels like irony because I'm selling merch. But it's very hard um now in social media, and it's very hard because I also have to go soon. But I wish I could explain this better without coming across as a hypocrite, but I unfortunately do not think that I can, because again, I am creating content online, and it is in order for you to watch me and in order for me to get more subscribers, get more people to watch me, get more people to interact with my content, I kind of need you to be on your phone, right? But it's also I don't want you to be on your phone to the point where you're starting to think that your weight dictates how your love life should look like. And I hope you guys are able to see that difference, and I hope you guys are able to see that I'm not telling you to get off your phone and to stop being informed, but to get off your phone and stop feeling insecure about yourself, because insecurity is not going to help us right now. Okay, if you start to feel insecure, get off your phone, talk to your neighbors. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Get off your phone, talk to your neighbors. Don't talk to people who are only trying to go viral and only trying to make money. Talk to real people and learn from their lived experiences off of social media. Um, that's what I'm saying. And then that way you can still stay informed, stay connected, but also learn how to communicate with people, because learning how to communicate with people in real life is going to be super duper important coming up. So yeah, and the internet is not going to be forever. So we all have to practice our social skills, and we all have to practice how to talk to people and how to form those communities and how to become familiar with our neighbors who are going to be the closest ones should anything happen. Um so yeah, don't try to bean soup me. I'm not telling you to um not become informed, but I am telling you that you need to learn how to talk to people in your life, and you need to learn how to communicate with people in your life, because people in your life have vastly different experiences than the people that you see on your phone every single day. Okay? Okay. Anyway, I have to go. So I will talk to you guys next week on Valentine's Day for the final installment of my horrible relationships on TikTok. I think it's gonna be a little bit controversial with the opposite. So these last two episodes have been controversial with the men and the pick me women, but I think this upcoming episode is going to be controversial with the female empowerment crowd. But I think you guys are getting scammed. But anyway, enough from me. I need to go. So, yeah. Bye. Thank you for watching.